Learn how to get access to money and put that money to work for you to make yourself
Yeah.
rich. Let's go. So this is the presentation on how to become a self-made millionaire. And it all really starts with a couple things. When we start to think about really becoming a self-made millionaire, before we get into, the money and everything else, you got to start with gratitude and you got to start with satisfaction. So the truth of the matter is thousands of years, what's all we really need is pretty simple, right? We need like a place to live. We need some food. We need water. We need friends and family, and that's about it, right? So that's kind of the place where you can start off. You can be truly grateful for just having the bare minimum and the basic. But the next thing that you want to do is you want to set goals, right? Because like once you reach a certain level of comfort, you'll get to the point where you'll realize that life isn't about pleasure necessarily. If life was just about having pleasure and doing things like that, it'd be pretty pointless. in my opinion, it's really more about getting shit done. It's about leveling up, improving yourself, constantly growing. The trees aren't going to stop getting bigger, right? They're going to get as big as humanly can. They're going to grow as big as they want. And the universe wants you to expand, wants you to grow. But yeah, so start with gratitude, start with satisfaction. It's not all about the money. It's about the person you have to become a self-made millionaire. The next thing is also for this presentation, let's just define a self-made millionaire. You can have $1 million in assets. You can actually, I like this one. So it says own $1 million in assets. Notice how that's the only one that says own. That's kind of powerful right there in itself. Okay, you can have $1 million in cash and you can have $1 million in credit. It's actually probably a lot faster to become a credit millionaire than anything else. But this is the definition of what a self-made millionaire is for this presentation's sake and going forward. Self-made millionaire. Okay. So in order to really get there, you have to create something, right? Or you have to buy something or you have to sell something. That's pretty much what you have to do to get there, like just the bare minimum. So creating something, you can create a product, you can create a service, you can create an offer. You can even create like a software or you can create a system, right? And like a system would also be like transportation or something where money is exchanged, right? But you can create it from absolutely nothing. You can create these things, sell them, and become a millionaire. Okay, you can buy something. You could buy real estate property. Me and Gina were talking about $1 million house right now in California. The mortgage is about $6,000 a month. And ever since he told me that, I was like, oh, that's not bad. Like, I'm going to figure that out. And that's probably the easiest way you can become a self-made millionaire. Now, owning $1 million house, some people might say, he's not a millionaire. But in my mind, it's the same shit. You own something that is worth $1 million. Your personal stock just went up $1 million, right? You could also buy businesses. I was really into growth consulting. I still am, where I buy businesses, I get a percent, and then we scale and we grow together. But you can find ways to also buy real estate and buy business with creative financing, where you literally don't put any money down. You just negotiate with the owner and you get a piece of the equity. And then finally, of course, you can sell something. You can buy lots of products and flip them for a profit. You can get a commission every time you sell, or you could just be the middleman who links one person with the other. One of my girlfriend's friends in Wyoming, he's like a multi-millionaire, but all he does is he gets screws and nails from China, and then he sells them to the US government and sells them to these big companies. And he's a multi-millionaire. Very boring, just sells little screws in bulk though, but and it's just like the craziest thing ever. But you can really do a lot of different ways. Okay. So this is just kind of fun math just to really figure out. It's like $1 million in a year, right? And this will probably go into the next presentation where it's like, how can we become a millionaire as fast as possible, right? But this is just good like goals, right? The main thing with this whole self-made millionaire is like have a goal, right? Have that as a good goal. Like maybe $1 million is small for some people. Maybe it's way more than anybody's ever thought of, but at least have a goal where you want to strive to get there, right? So in order to get $1 million in a year, you need 83,000 per month. You need to make 20,000 per week, 27 per day, 114 per hour, or $1.90 per minute, which is crazy, right? But I think $114 an hour is pretty good if you're not working every hour of every single day, right? And that's how you got to really figure that out. But there's really 4 aspects when it comes down to becoming a self-made millionaire. And this is like more of the philosophy side, but you got to be a high performer. You got to understand the system that you're building to make the money. You got to have the correct mindset and take the right actions, and you got to have the right relationships. High performance. This could also just be like health, right? Like what is it? It was like a Steve Jobs quote, but he's like, most people want everything, or a sick person only wants one thing. So like, if you want to become like a high performer, if you want to be healthy, like you got to take care of yourself And being a high performer isn't like, you don't have to work out every single day. You don't have to do all this crazy stuff, but you do have to figure out how to master yourself, right? How to be able to be the best performer you possibly can be. Because if you're feeling like shit, you can't work as much. If you can't control your emotions, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not at the top of your game, you're going to be losing the battle in the end. Okay. So you got to figure out how to make yourself a high performer. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be at the gym every single day. Doesn't mean you really have to suffer all the time, but it's just like, what is a comfortable state where I can definitely perform to my maximum and best ability? Okay. So master yourself. And the best way to do that is you can actually go and get like blood tests and all kinds of things where you can really understand your physiology and know what the best diet for yourself is, know what the best sleep routine is. And you can really just build off from there, but it all comes down to tracking and wanting to do this in the first place, right? That's really key for becoming a self-made millionaire. So master yourself. Next thing is sleep. If you don't sleep, you know, there was like this whole experience where everybody was like hustle culture, blah, blah, blah. But sleep is probably the most important thing that we can literally do for our brain, for our life, for creating our reality. So you really have to figure out how to master your sleep, get the best sleep you possibly can, and still be super efficient, right? And still have good time management, but figure out, you know, what is that key amount that you need to sleep every night in order to feel the best that you possibly can and perform the best the next day. Make sure that you eat and drink properly. You know, if you get really rich and then all you do is eat shitty food and just drink alcohol all day, you're going to die pretty quick, right? So exercise is incredibly important. Keep your energy super high, get that pump in every day. And then breath work, I think, is really important. When I say breath work, it's like meditation, yoga, stuff to empty your mind, to go for walks and things like that. So you can really be a high performer. Okay. Next is going to be the systems. Now I'm kind of a system nerd, right? When it comes down to businesses. And I want you to also start to think of a business as just a system. It's not some miracle. It's not some lucky thing that happened. It's a system. It's a bunch of buckets inside of a business that all perform their action and in the process create money at the end. Okay. So to create a really good system, you have to educate yourself. That's why you guys are here. Find a guide, find a mentor, find somebody who's already gone where you want to go and figure out what they did and then just copy it, especially in the beginning. But having a mentor is key. Educating yourself is key. Expanding your consciousness. Like if you've decided what your system is going to be, you need to read everything about that system, everything about that business so that you can become an expert in that field so that you're not just making it up, right? I mean, you do have to take action before you know everything, but you still have to put in the time of learning everything you possibly can about that industry, about that system, about that business. Okay. And then don't reinvent the wheel. There's been a lot of people before you that have made a lot of money, that have done a lot of things, and they leave clues. Okay. You don't have to do it the same way that they do it, but at least figure out what they did, follow their path, use them as a guide. Okay. So don't reinvent the wheel all the time. Then you have to build the system. Like you have to actually like sit down and make things happen and figure out how we're going to get from point A to point B. So start where you are, but really start building it, whether it's just writing a business plan, making a logo, starting a website, whatever you got to do. Okay. And then you have to start fixing the system. Okay. So like almost always when you first start a business, when you first start a system, and when I say system, it's like, even if you're going to buy real estate, right? You need a system to get real estate deals. If you're going to flip products, you need a system to get the product, flip the product, sell the product, make money, right? And almost always when you first start, you might get lucky, but then you're going to have to fix it. Something is going to be broken. Something is going to be not necessarily 100%. So just expect that to happen. And then you have to start improving the system. Okay. And when I say system, it's like all these different things are happening all at once, but at the end result is money, right? Time goes in, money comes out, and that's the system. And you need to find that one that's for you and make sure that it works and then double down. If it's not making any money, it's not a real system. It's just a bunch of BS, right? So you need to have that thing. But once you actually get to the point where it is making money, now you need to fix the system. Now you need to improve the system. Now you need to look at each little part of the business and make it better as you go. Okay. And then the last final part about systems is hiring other people to run the system so that you can get your time back. Okay. It's always going to start first with your dream. It's always going to start first with your vision or your partner's vision or somebody that you're working with vision. You're going to build the thing. Okay. You're going to improve the system, and then you're going to hire other people to run the system so you can get your time back. So you can start to work above it and make money. This is how it works. Okay. And then to truly become a self-made millionaire, you have to have the right mindset and you have to take massive action. Okay. This is why having a guide when you don't know what to do is clearly very, very important. You have to have somebody who's already been there and be able to ask them questions. Okay. And you have to have a winning self-story. One of my favorite quotes is from recently is like, I think it's the guy that coached Michael Jordan, right? I was just reading his book again, Relentless. And he said, does winning even know who you are? Like, are you even in the same room as winning? You need to have that mindset and you need to have that drive and you need to have that self-story. If your self-story is that you do things and they always fail, then you need to figure out how to get out of that story and create a new story where you're always winning, where you're always understanding what the next goal is and you see yourself winning. You want to play games where you're going to fucking win, not where you're going to take risks and lose, but where you're going to win. So the game that you play, the system that you build, the way you get to $1 million, you have to be able to see yourself and have the story in your mind. I'm going to win this fucking thing. And then you need to hold on to that. And you need to remind yourself about that almost every single day as well. And there's this really good book called The Gap and the Gain, right? A lot of entrepreneurs are stuck in the gap, right? They're like, oh, we don't have this. We don't have this. We're lacking this. Whereas the real winners and the real entrepreneurs have the gain. They're able to look back at how far they've already come and appreciate how far they've come. And they think about how we can make this better. Okay. So it's having that positive mindset as well. And then you just have to take massive action. Most people want microwave results, right? They want that 5 minute, that 1 minute business is done, I'm making money type of deal. But you got to take massive action. You can't have, microwave results when you're trying to make, a family banquet or something, like when you're trying to set yourself up for success. You have to take massive action and then you have to have discipline and you have to work on it every day and you have to commit to excellence. Okay. So discipline is really powerful, actually. Like if you really create the system, if you really know what you're going to do, there's going to be like 3 to 4 to 5 disciplines that if you do every single day, you're going to be chipping away and getting where you need to get faster. Okay. And it doesn't come down to, being the best or doing anything. It just comes down to doing the work that is required and having discipline to do the work that is required. Okay. And then the next step is commit to excellence. You're not going to be exceptional. You're not going to have a super successful business if you don't say, okay, I'm going to make this excellent. I'm going to make this the best that I possibly can. Matthew McConaughey, his whole quote is, don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. If you're going to do something, don't half-ass it, basically. Commit to excellence, right? And then number 6 is have faith, okay? I was watching this rabbi, and he was saying that the most important thing about being an entrepreneur and doing this is that you build a relationship with God or your higher power in the process, right? You say, okay, I'm going to do this work, higher power or whatever it is. You got to do your job. I'm going to do my job. You do your job. And through this process, you guys are going to create faith and become truly unstoppable. And you have to have that higher power, that have to have that idea in your mind, though, and have faith that something else is going to work out, that something is going to fall into place. Okay. And then finally, the last one is just don't quit. Lots and lots of people decide, oh, it's too hard, or they give up on their dreams and they quit. Okay. But if you just don't quit, you will get there. You will become a self-made millionaire. And then the final one is basically relationship. And I think this is the one that's probably not spoken about enough. Okay. But you always get your money from other people. You always get your money from other people. Other people are the ones that have the things that you want. If you want to get them, you have to start communicating with other people. You have to start talking with other people, and you have to start getting them into your circle. Okay. So relationships are the key. Dealing with other people, working with other people, learning how to communicate better with other people is important. Okay. And the big thing with relationships, obviously, is number 1, take care of your friends and family. The whole point of you becoming this next level person, this self-made millionaire, is so that you can really take care of your friends and family. And you need friends and family to talk to spend time with, to go on adventures with, to experience this world. And I'm not saying go broke trying to take care of them. I'm just saying build relationships with them, be proactive with them, because they are your inner circle, right? Take care of your inner circle and become a better communicator. Okay. A big thing with relationships is becoming better at communicating. And the reason, like most people who are entrepreneurs and who are successful, they have become better at communicating. They have a larger vocabulary. They've got a bigger dictionary than most people, because they have to express what they want and get their point across, right? And if you want to become good at sales and you want to make more money, you have to become a better communicator. And then the next one is be proactive and invest in building relationships. One of the worst things about nowadays is that everything is online and nobody goes to events anymore and nobody really builds real relationships. We have like these social media BS relationships and they think that that's okay, right? But the phone works two ways. But for you to truly be successful, I would say be proactive in building relationships. Go to the events, call people that you want to talk to, be more grateful. There's a couple people that they wake up every morning and they say you should send 3 gratitude texts. And it's just like, hey, I was just thinking about you. I'm really grateful for what you do. Like, and you do that every single day. What I did when I was really trying to crack into the real estate industry, I hated cold calling, right? I hated it. I heard somebody say, if you can do 18 minutes a day of anything, you'll become an expert within a few years. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to cold call 18 minutes a day. And I would set a little timer and I would just do it. And I hated it. And then once I started doing it, though, it really wasn't that bad. But it was all about being proactive and talking to people, talking in that case to homeowners and trying to get them to sell me their house. Okay. And then the biggest thing about relationships is you got to fight like hell to get into the right rooms. All about relationships. It's all about finding A players. It's all about being around successful people. And whenever you have an opportunity to learn from successful people, you got to fight like hell to get into the right rooms and then to get a seat at the table. That's been the biggest, like, you want a quantum leap. You want to do anything, you got to find the right room to get in. And then you got to figure out how to get a seat at the table. Be at the big boys table. Don't be at the kids table. Figure out how to get a piece of the pie. Figure out what you can bring the value to other people. Okay. And then number 5 is you got to hire and work with A players. That's the biggest thing we're learning right now. Building Credit Leverage X and just all my other businesses is it's all comes down to having A players on your team. If they're a B or a C player, you probably should just fire them and wait and be patient and work hard to find A players that are going to do really quality work for you and that are going to get you where you need to go. All right. And then number 6 is you really need to learn how to manage people and how to motivate people and how to treat people properly so that they work well with you. And if you're a boss, you got to find their zone of genius. You got to find what motivates them and you let them do that and you let them go from there. All right. And then this is just more about systems. But like when it comes down to, becoming a self-made millionaire, you got to have a system that makes money, right? So the way that I break businesses down is there's a marketing department, sales department, there's the fulfillment department, there's management, there's HR and accounting. Okay. And then each one of these is their own system inside of the system. Marketing's job is to broadcast, get the messaging correct, have the branding. Sales job, collect the money. Fulfillment is get the product or service to the customer, make them happy. Management is just to keep everything going. HR, hiring good people, and accounting is just managing the money so you don't lose any of it and keeping track of it. Okay. But these are the buckets for any kind of system that you really need if you're going to get to $1 million and become a self-made millionaire. So instead of thinking of a business as like a whole made up thing, no, a business is a bunch of systems put together that make you a lot of money at the end of the day. Once you find a good system, your job is to break them down into these smaller systems and make each one of these systems work better, improve on the system, make it a better system, and you're going to make more money. And then the truth about systems, most systems are going to fail. Okay. So you have to test and you have to decide, is this going to lose? Is this going to be a moderate or is this going to be a winner? And you got to go for the winners, but you just got to test a lot of shit. You got to go out there, go in the marketplace and fail a lot until you finally find that winner. And when you find that winner, you got to take it the distance. Okay. Copy other winners' systems. If you see other winners that are making a lot of money, there's usually a window of time where certain things make a ton of money and you can get in them. But you want to really think long-term more than you want to just hop in on the trends and stuff like that. But you can copy other people's systems and you can basically grow from there, right? Like me and Gino are really talking about getting into life insurance. We want to find a mentor who already has a super successful life insurance company and is selling, millions and millions of dollars. And we want to just copy their system and make it our own. It turns out life insurance is like $1 trillion industry. So I got kind of excited when I learned that. Okay. But once you have a system that works, your entire focus should be going into making that system more efficient. Okay. And then you can take your emotions out. When you're starting a business, you're probably gonna have a lot of emotions. It's going to be very emotional. As soon as you have a real thing that kind of works, you got to take your emotions out and you got to break down each system and run it like a business. Like this is like a math problem. Yes, you're dealing with people. Yes, there are certain things that are out of your control, but if you can take your emotions out, make it into a really solid structure, that's what you want. Okay. And then you need to keep your costs low and your profits high. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but there's a lot of people out there that are trying to become millionaires selling like a $27 widget or something. Like it's just going to take a lot of fucking work. You got to make a lot of money and you got to keep your costs really low. You know, how I started almost all of my first businesses is I would make a product that literally cost no money, but I would charge a lot of money for it. And every time I would make a profit, and then that was the big profit, and it would just grow and grow and grow. Okay. But you got to figure out how to keep things low cost, high profit. But most businesses make more money on the back end than on the front end. Okay. So what Russell Brunson says inside of his books, Business Secrets or whatever the hell it is, Marketing Secrets, I can't think of it, but he says, start with your high ticket offer first. Build out your highest, most expensive product first, and then make it fall down from there. So it starts with like your $50,000 mentorship, then it goes down to one-on-one coaching, and then it goes down to your courses, and then it goes down to like ebooks, right? But start with the big profit, right? If you're going to get into real estate, try and figure out how to find the building that has the most profit that you can make money for the long run on the back end, right? Get into those businesses that are going to take you the distance, but make most money on the back end. Okay. You need to think big and you need to play the long game as well. Okay. So playing the long game with the right people is always going to be more successful than playing the short game with the wrong people and making quick money, right? Okay, make sure you only have quality people to manage your systems, because like when you build something, it's like your baby, right? And then if you just put garbage people to run it, they're just going to run it into the ground. Everything can be better. The speed of how your product gets to the clients, your quality of marketing, your quality of products, the price can always be better. And it's going to take hard work, but if others can do it, so can you. All right. And then this is pretty much what we're going to wrap up. But these are, basically habits of self-made millionaires. Warren Buffett, he basically, says read a lot. So does Bill Gates. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett read about a book a week. All right. Most actors, and Will Smith, he basically said, you got to have a positive attitude. That's literally your main job. You got to have a positive attitude. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he says his main habit is he gets up early. He says if he has to be on set, he wakes up 4 hours before that, works out, gets up early, takes care of himself, and then conquers the day. You got to stand out from the crowd. Okay. You don't want to be a boring, basically person. You're never going to get people's attention. You got to be loud. You got to be in your face. You got to be out there. You got to stand out from the crowd. Not too much, right? There's this old saying. It's like, you can be a Buddhist, right? And I'll be your friend, right? And you could probably be a nudist. It's a little weird. And you could be my friend. But if you're a nudist Buddhist, that's just too weird. You're not going to have any friends. So you want to stand up from the crowd in your own way, but not too weird. Okay. And then you got to hang out with other successful people. This is really key. Hang out with other successful people. Figure out how to get in the room with them. Figure out how to have more conversations with them. And then you have to seek feedback. Okay. Whenever you're building one of these systems, you want to test it. And then you want to have somebody else look at it and see what they say. You don't have to listen, or you don't have to do what they say. Like, you're going to sleep a lot better at night if you make your own decisions on everything. Okay. If you just blindly listen to everybody, it's not worth your time, but you do need to hear everyone's feedback, whether it's customers, clients, prospects, other people from the outside, whatever it is. And then you have to pursue your dreams relentlessly, and you will get where you need to go. Pretty much the whole presentation. I think it was pretty powerful, though. I think it was pretty cool. And remember, it's not all about the money. It's about, who you will become in the pursuit of becoming a self-made millionaire. That's the most important thing.